Welcome to the United Stand. This is your afternoon transfer latest, and I tell you what, it's probably the biggest transfer news we've had in a long time because there are big movements and updates around Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United. Fabrizio Romano's just dropped it that Jorge Neves, is it Neves, the agent? I'll double check that. I don't think it is. I'm getting mixed up. But anyway, Jorge Mendes is in England to sort out deals for João Felix and Manuel Ugarte. But also, more significantly, PSG coach Luis Enrique has left Ugarte out of PSG's pre-season squad. So PSG starting to make moves to make moves. Also, L'Equipe, the French outlet, says that Jadon Sancho is still very much a target for them, and an update around Fofana. So Sander Berge fan club, get in the bin. It ain't looking good, Brev. I'm only joking. Obviously, if we get Sander Berge as well, that's not a massive problem. But big updates around Manuel Ugarte, who I think, look, I can't see Ineos not doing this deal. This is the player that they want. They want to be best in class. They want to deliver plan A's. I think it will happen. We'll talk about that as well. But also Fofana being mentioned, which is interesting too. I think things are starting to move with Ugarte. It's a little bit like your internet. It's felt like it's been a bit like dial-up, getting Ugarte to download. But finally, we've got some fibre optic and it's absolutely speeding up. So hopefully, it'll be deal complete very soon. Look, we're not at that point yet. Obviously, things can go wrong. People can walk away. We walked away from Branthwaite. We got Yoro and De Ligt done. De Ligt pictures with Mazraoui, by the way, pictured in the training kit with Erik ten Hag. We've got an update on the situation with them training. They didn't train with the squad. They trained separately, but it's not all bad news. Lots to talk about on the show. If we can't sell Casemiro or McTominay, would you accept a 35 million bid for Collier if it meant we could bring in Ugarte? Chuff Bridge, that's chuff nonsense. Mark, fantastic. Good health to you and your family, says Alex Park. Exactly. Well, I mean, and to you as well, Alex. I'm taking all the credit there. Good health to me and my family. No, and you as well, Alex. Right, let's hit this news. This is what we're going to start off with. Jorge Mendes is in England to discuss João Felix to Chelsea and Manuel Ugarte to Manchester United. This is coming in from Fabrizio Romano. PSG still see Ugarte leaving and United want him, but they need the valuation to drop or they need a midfielder to be sold. So some will say Fabrizio's just updating the obvious there, but it wasn't obvious that Jorge Mendes would be in the UK. And Fabrizio was on our show just over a week ago, probably one of his last big significant Ugarte updates, and he continually drops the name Jorge Mendes in relation to Ugarte to Manchester United. So whenever, you know, I think Fabrizio's got an in on Mendes, and I think that, you know, that's not unusual. That's no sports news. You know, Ornstein, Fabrizio, a lot of their knowledge will be coming in from agents, representatives, clubs, etc. But clearly he's got a good relationship with Jorge Mendes. Clearly Jorge Mendes was a massive reason why Lenny Yoro came to Man United and not Real Madrid. And he was a massive reason why João Neves went to PSG. And his third big deal is Ugarte from PSG to Man United. Heavily involved in it. Fabrizio's briefed on it, and Jorge Mendes is in England to discuss João Felix with Chelsea, but also Ugarte with Manchester United. I tell you what, why are Chelsea backing for João Felix? I tell you what, they've got more faces than a townhouse clock, Chelsea. I mean, they changed their bloody transfer targets quicker than the weather changes in the UK in the summer, and it changes fast here. I mean, it's not a Chelsea show, but I didn't even realise they were back in for João Neves, João Felix. Anyway, we're here to talk about Manchester United. So Jorge Mendes is in England to discuss with Manchester United the deal for Ugarte. Now, he'll be in London, but Man United, as far as I'm aware, still have an office in London. So that's not a massive problem. Hi, Mark. Hope you and the family are doing well. If you would have to put a percentage on the likeness, basically give a percentage on the likeliness of Ugarte deal, what would it be, says Dan. Well, I would say that Jorge Jude Forsyth wants the FPL league code. I don't know it because I'm not running the United Stand one. I'm not even in it yet. I will be in it, but I'm not in it yet. I've only just registered for Super 6 today, so I'm well behind it, Dan. But if anyone knows the code, let him know. I think percentage-wise, Ugarte signing for United, 100% being it's going to happen. 90% copyright, that's dangerous. 50-50, obviously. I'd say with Ugarte, I'm 75%. 75%, yeah. Phil Berry says, where's Beth? She had a well-deserved break after America. She was on the East Coast with us. Then she went to the West Coast on holiday with some family. So she's back. She's definitely back on Thursday because she's doing a video with Ricky to discuss the season, which I can't wait for. Might be back tomorrow, but definitely back Thursday. Ready to go for the season, Friday Night Football. Okay, yeah, I'll go 75%. Here we go by Friday, and I'm loving the book, says Tom Grant. Honestly, I think with Ugarte and whether we get Here We Go on Friday, I'm not really that bothered. I think that, you know, people moan about, oh, this, that, change this, that and the other. We've got De Ligt, we've got Mazraoui. They can feature against Fulham. Ugarte has got no chance of playing against Fulham. So I think that I'm quite relaxed on that one because we know what Ten Hag is like. Even if we buy Ugarte this weekend, if we beat Fulham, he won't start him away to Brighton anyway. So Ugarte's going to be in the similar position to Casemiro when he came in, where he's going to get up to match fitness. He's got to work for his place. So Ugarte's more of a longer term signing for Manchester United, definitely. Just a bit of breaking news as well. Hannibal Mejbri has handed in a transfer request at Manchester United. I mean, to be absolutely fair to Mejbri, that's like telling your partner you want a divorce when they've been having an affair for the last 5 years and they don't love you. That's really horrible. That actually is really hot. That's I mean, come on. That's not good. That's not good. What I was trying to say is he's asking for a divorce when we've already asked for one. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, Hannibal Mejbri has got 1 year left on his contract. We don't want to give him a new contract. So him handing in a transfer request is just odd because Man United want him to go anyway. So yeah, what I'm trying to say is it doesn't make sense him handing a transfer request in because we're not going to give him a new contract anyway. So, yes. Terence Neo, welcome to Members Club. Would you sell Rashford for 45 to 50 million to get him off the wage bill? No way, Farhan. That's way underpriced. Way underpriced. We're not doing that. Aaron T, thanks for your super chat. So, other updates on George Mendes as well. We've told you about Fabrizio Romano. Breaking news, George Mendes, the agent working on this deal, is in the UK to discuss Ugarte with Manchester United. But further to that, the one I was actually going to lead on was this. So this has come in from L'Equipe again. They've also given us an update on Jadon Sancho today. But this is coming in from L'Equipe today, in the last hour, that Luis Enrique, the PSG manager, has left Manuel Ugarte out of the squad for PSG's training matches. The midfielder could leave before the transfer deadline. I always find this weird to do it because, if anything, it plays into our hands. Now, it might not play into our hands if there are other clubs that want him, but just as a bit of a recap, because sometimes the truth helps, Man United agreed personal terms with Ugarte at the start of July. Fact. Manuel Ugarte wants to come to Manchester United. Fact. So personal term and players wants to come to us. We know that. Because it was so long ago, I think people forget that. We have agreed personal terms and he does want to come to us. PSG are now leaving him out of their training squad. And George Mendes is in England to discuss with Manchester United. The barrier is the transfer fee, but everything else suggests this deal will happen. He's our plan A, we've done personal terms, he wants to join us, PSG have left him out their training camp, everything. It's like, everything suggests today's Tuesday, and everything suggests that Ugarte will join Manchester United. We've just got to sort this fee thing out. So PSG either adjust their fee or we sell a player. That's the barrier here. But the fact that they've left him out is massive news. That is massive. I mean, it's massive news that George Mendes is in the UK to discuss the deal. But on its own, it's absolutely massive that Luis Enrique's left him out of the training squad, because that would be like Man United saying to Christian Eriksen, "You're not training with the first team." I mean, that's not wriggle room for a transfer, is it? That's basically, I mean, if I'm trying to get a good price for him, you don't leave him out of training. So I think PSG are just very much showing their hand that they want him gone ASAP. Because if you want, what I find weird is, what I'm basically saying here is that if PSG wants 60 million euros for Ugarte, that's what they paid for him a year ago to Sporting Lisbon. And in that year, he's not established himself as a essential player for PSG. And now he's not training with them. So how can you have the front to say we want 60 million euros when you want to sell him and you're not even letting him train with the first team? You can't ask for the same money you paid for when you clearly don't want him. So hopefully that means there is going to be a bit of wriggle room for Manchester United to get that deal done. Certainly hope so. And it feels like things are moving. What it means for Sander Berge, what it means for Amrabat, I don't really care, because this is our priority. If they come in as well, fine, but let's get this deal done. But it's certainly major development this afternoon. Was at Carrington this morning, and sure, we saw a De Ligt, also a player who drives a white Lamborghini, left within 20 minutes of arriving, says Niki. Could have been Hannibal Mejbri. Does Hannibal Mejbri drive a white Lamborghini? Could have been him. Niki put a bit of exclusive news there. Mark, if we get Ugarte, I fancy us winning the Europa League and challenge for the title. What's your opinion, Daniel? I think I nearly said you're a prat, Daniel, but you have given a super chat. Some people like being called a prat. I think you're very optimistic. Title talk is nonsense talk, in my opinion. Score prediction for Fulham with De Ligt, says Aaron. Can we leave it for the preview? Even with Garnacho's cameo, does he start, says Harry? Oh yeah, you've got to start. You've got to start him. Saw news about Calvert-Lewin. What about it? Bullshit, says Eric. That's bullshit. We need a Pratometer. Who agrees, says Tom Grant. Any worries a footballing coach don't rate him, says Robert McCormack. Well, look, mate. Robert's talking about Ugarte. Any worries? I mean, look, there are worries about Ugarte. Of course there are. There are worries about De Ligt. There are. De Ligt's being sold by Bayern Munich. Ugarte's being sold by PSG. There are worries, 100%. There are worries. It's just whether you think it's a good signing or not. I think they're good signings. And I also really want to reiterate, we've not got close to a title in 10 years. We very rarely qualify for the Champions League. We finished 8th. We're not signing Kimmich, Rodri, or players of that quality. We are on a ladder and we're quite near the bottom. If Ugarte ain't good enough for PSG and De Ligt ain't good enough for Bayern Munich and they come to Man United, they will be good enough to get us in the top 4, which is something we don't do very often. So I'm not saying that Ugarte, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Xerxes, Yoro are the players that are going to win us the Premier League and the Champions League. Hopefully some of them will. But we're starting at a very low bar here. Like, we've got absolute shite in our squad that aren't good enough to get us in the top 4. You don't go from 8th to 1st in one summer. We're looking to go from 8th to 4th or 3rd and hold it. And I think Ugarte, De Ligt, Mazraoui, all those players that we brought in certainly have the pedigree to get us into that area. And then when we hold our place in that area, we can hopefully go to a higher level by bringing better players in. But I think a lot of people assume that, they're looking at signings and going, wow, this, that and the other. I get that. You're not wrong, Robert, but we have to take this in stages as well. Ibrahim says, Luckhurst is a prat. I don't even care if I misspelled his name. Patrick Lynch says, if Sancho's left out of the Fulham squad, does that indicate he's leaving for PSG before the window closes? I would keep an eye on that, Patrick. I think it's a good point. Would you involve Sancho to buy Ugarte swap deal? I'm going to talk to you about Sancho in a moment. And Jord Forsyth says, reports here in Scotland keep linking Hannibal to Celtic. None of us want him up here. I mean, Hannibal's not going to bring much money in for United anyway, and he's got 1 year left on his contract. Chuffbridge says, selling a player should not be the deciding factor in this deal. PSG lowering the price should be. We should not pay 60 million euros. I don't care if we sell a player or not. We won't pay 60 million euros. It's ridiculous. If you go for a striker, would you prefer Tony over Calvert-Lewin, says Dizzery? I mean, mate, I would prefer Fulkrug over Calvert-Lewin. I would prefer bloody Mendes or Nunez or whatever his name was from Fulham. I know he moved anyway. I don't rate Calvert-Lewin. I don't want Calvert-Lewin. Have you heard of the French left-back Bradley would be a cheap price. Harvey James, no, I haven't. Where can I find the fantasy code? I don't know, Ravi. You're not the only one asking. I will try and find it for the 8 o'clock show. The game is complex and you need experienced players. Casemiro is more experienced and wants to prove himself. Ugarte is not 30, says Hyans. Mark, George Mendes is also in London to negotiate João Felix to Chelsea as well. Ugarte and Amrabat would be epic. Fingers crossed, says Acid. Thanks, Acid. And was it Carrington? I've done that one. Right, okay. Talking about Carrington, talking about Ugarte, talking about Mazraoui. Update, UTD Menace. Remember I mentioned this account before. Very, very good around injuries, etc. Their update today, in the last half an hour, is that De Ligt and Mazraoui did train today, but they trained separately so that Manchester United could assess their fitness levels comparable to what they've got. Very intelligent, very ordinary. That's why getting these deals done at the start of the week was so important, because they were never really going to train with the first team today. Wednesday tomorrow, Thursday, there's 2 big training sessions left for them to get involved. Obviously, United will take those tests and visuals on them training individually today and look at where they are in relation to the rest of the squad. Because what you don't want to do is start De Ligt against Fulham and then after 20 minutes he pulls up with a hamstring because he's not quite at the level everybody else is. So look, we're going to have to take it day by day. I mean, I've seen the picture of De Ligt with Ten Hag and Mazraoui. I just think if you're Eric Ten Hag and you can play De Ligt with Martinez, you're going to do everything you can to do that. You are, because you know Lindelof and Martinez and Evans and Martinez and Maguire and Martinez, it ain't the same. It ain't the same. So I think let's see what happens tomorrow now. But that's what's happened with De Ligt and Mazraoui. They've trained separately to assess their fitness today, but they have trained. Still not officially deal done. Look, I'm not going to talk to you about the inner workings of Manchester United and why they take so long to do a deal. The players have actually trained. We know they're Man United players, but we're waiting for the official drop. It's PR. That's what it is. I mean, we support a club that's probably one of the biggest PR bandwagons in world football. And that's not a negative. I'm just saying, I'm explaining why they haven't announced it. They haven't announced it because they want to announce it when it's right for them. And maybe it's about what time it is in America and India and everywhere else and what's the sweet spot to get the most traction. That's probably what it's all about. I don't know what that is. Could be 4, could be 6, could be 8, could be 3. I don't know. But they will do it. They will do it today because the players have been bloody training in a Man United kit. We've seen it. So they will announce it at some point and we'll be ready whenever it happens. But this is not about announcing it before they train or problems with the medical. It's just simply timing to hit the peak thing. 4 p.m. or 8 looking at last couple of signings, says Darren. Liverpool to steal Ugarte, says Raz. As I said before, I don't think Ugarte suits Liverpool. I don't think Liverpool are looking for that type of midfielder. I think they're looking for a more ball-playing midfielder. Tom Best, welcome to Members Club. JK says, Yoro, Xerxes, De Ligt, Mazraoui, Ugarte, best summer we've had since Fergie retired. What's one other position you'd like to see strengthened? I'd like another midfielder. I would like a left back as well. I've been watching your channel since 2014, says Tom Best. Well, you are the best. Best by name, best by nature. 2014. There won't be many people who have been in here that long. Well done, mate. Can't wait for your FC 25 career mode, Mark. So many new features. Loved the book, says German Sniper. I have the beta code for FC 25. I switched it off in a tantrum about an hour ago. It's not looking good. I mean, it'll make great content, but I just got pissed off. Can't tackle at the moment. Mark my words, Ugarte will sign for Liverpool, says Sam. Well, you know what? He who laughs last, laughs the loudest. There's been a lot of laughing at Liverpool and Zubimendi. If they get Ugarte, I don't know what we're going to do in relation to we never wanted him anyway. We always wanted Sander Berge. I don't think Liverpool will go for Ugarte because I don't think he fits in with what they're looking at. But I'm not going to say it definitely won't happen because those things have happened before. And if they do get him, we would look really, 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 really bad. Especially if we're going to get Sander Berge or Amrabat. But I don't see that happening. We've been in conversations with PSG for a very long time. But we do need to sell to buy, or we need them to reduce the price. Ugarte and Sancho loan plus obligation for 42 million to Scott Streeter. FU says, did you use a ghostwriter? The presenter said you'd published a book. I'd buy one you've written, but not written by a ghostwriter. I'm autistic, says FU. It's my book, mate. It's right behind me. So you can read all the stories in that book are my book. So it's my book. If anybody's read it and you want to tell FU about it, that's no one else has written that book for me. That's my book, mate. It's like, check it out, listen to it, read it. I read the bloody book. I know what you mean about people who write books about people without their authority, but that's my book. It's authorized, it's official, it's my book. Such a great community, really positive over what Ineos are doing. Patience and strong negotiation for key targets. Keep doing what you do, Mark, says Topper. Liverpool better not get Ugarte, by the way. I'm just getting a little bit stressed about that because everything Ineos have done will come crashing down if Liverpool get Ugarte. The shit will hit the fan big time because we all know it's their plan A and it's the player we want. If we go for a striker, no, I've done that one. Okay, I want to talk to you about Sancho. There was an update from L'Equipe about Sancho as well. It came out this morning. They're saying this, French outlet, PSG are still keen on signing Jadon Sancho and are working on the deal. This is interesting because we spoke about it last night. It is interesting because we're just getting a real steady stream over the last 24 hours of news around Jadon Sancho and PSG. I don't know where this will end. I'm quite relaxed about it because I think Sancho's a very difficult player to get rid of. He's been very problematic over the last 3 years as a signing. I mean, I'm not saying he's a problematic individual, but, you know, we've had lots of things. He missed 3 months of football, you know, and he wasn't even injured. There was issues there. We've had 3 months of football missed because of a fallout. He's on massive wages. You know, it's very problematic with Jadon Sancho. So I always find myself just saying he does need to leave. Obviously, it's very obvious, but again, until he's holding up someone else's shirt, I'll believe it when I see it, a bit like McTominay. I don't think it's worth getting stressed about, you know, praying and hoping and stuff like that. We just have to wait and see. But look, it seems that PSG are interested. And I guess we'll just have to wait and see how that develops. Zubber Doobie-Doo, where are you? You can get McSauce from us, says Nicholas. Keel says, calling the mercenary. Bold predictions for us this season, says Ravel. Mine is that Garnacho will bench Rashford's spot fully, ending the season with 25 to 30 goals in the league, says Ravel. I just can't see a situation where Marcus Rashford doesn't start games for Man United. Look, change has to happen for you to understand change, but I just can't see that happening. I think we'll see the same as last year where, you know, Ten Hag persists and persists and persists to try and get Rashford firing again, and hopefully at some point he will fire. What are your thoughts on I don't know Arbelin, never heard of the name, so I'm not reading it out because it could mean something else. Thank you very much. Okay, there is one more story I wanted to bring in as well. Manchester United are ready to make an important offer in the line with Monaco requests to sign Youssouf Fofana. Milan are now way, way behind United in the race. This is coming in from Luca Chili, Sky Sports Italy, I think. I don't know about that. I mean, all I'll say about that is that we have been blessed this summer that every player that we've gone for, we've been briefed on, and it's been very accurate. But for the last 10 years, you'd get stories like this 4 or 5 times a day where apparently Man United are after a player that they've never been after. So I don't know whether this Fofana story is just United being used to get Milan to hurry the deal up or not. It doesn't feel like Man United are winning the race for Fofana. It doesn't. It just feels like it's a bit of a story because the Fofana deal has slowed down and, you know, Milan are miles behind Man United in the race for Fofana. It just feels, and it's coming from Sky Italy, it feels like a bit of a kick up the arse for Milan to get the Fofana deal done, potentially from Monaco. I don't know. But I don't feel, and it's only hunch feel, and it also, well, no, it's not just that. It's also just WhatsApps you send amongst people. I've never, in the last few weeks, had any real strong indication that United are concrete with Fofana. Maybe things can change like that, but I don't feel like Fofana really is an option for Manchester United that's being, looked at. What I think we can take from credible stories is that Ugarte is plan A, and we want to do the deal with PSG. We're just struggling to do it. And if that doesn't happen, Amrabat and probably Sander Berge are the cheap options. And beyond those three players, I don't think we're looking at anybody else. I do quite like the idea of Fofana, but I don't think we're looking at him at the moment. Are you concerned about our midfield with Ugarte and Mainu since they both don't have long-range passing abilities? Would it not be a concern, says RG? Well, I don't think it's a concern because I don't think long-range passing is actually as difficult as you think. For a professional footballer, a 40-yard pass in the air isn't actually that difficult to do or be taught. And also, do we want players who want to do that all the time? I mean, Amrabat's very good at it. Amrabat's brilliant at long-range passing. And Maguire's good at it. We've seen that. But do we want to be hitting long balls all the time? Or do we want to be playing through the middle with tenacity and speed? And I don't think Kobe Mainu is going to struggle to develop his long passing range. He's 19. I'd have to see more of Ugarte on it. But, I mean, if you're saying to me we should be worried about Mainu and Ugarte because they're not amazing at long passes, I'd say, well, you can keep your long passes. I'm not really that bothered about it. Is Ugarte the only first team number 6 option? All others linked are not first team in my eyes. All egg in one basket, says Chris. Yeah, but I think that's because Casemiro might be staying. So, Casemiro, there isn't, you're right, there isn't a first team option beyond Ugarte, I don't think. Thank you very much for that from Chris Freeman. It was a good point by Chris. You've sort of got me thinking there. I don't think we have a pivot from Ugarte towards, a ready-made £50 million number 6. A little bit like Liverpool, I suppose, with Zubimendi. I don't think they've got a ready-made one as well. Ugarte is in London. I've not heard anything about that. Ugarte's not in London. Ugarte's not training with France. Not training in France with PSG. But George Mendes is in London, who is his agent. I've not heard anything about Ugarte being London. But he's not involved in first team training. That's for sure. Just having a quick look, see if there's any news there. No, nothing new. What's for dinner, Mark's his name? Cooked a chicken last night. It was dead. Don't worry. That would be barbaric. Well, yeah, it would. And so cold chicken salad. It's quite hot weather. Coleslaw, stuff like that would be nice. Ugarte to Liverpool, says Rajiv. I don't know where all this Ugarte to Liverpool stuff is. It's childish. Yeah, I think you're just being childish. Is it Liverpool fans trying to, go and lick your wounds about Zubimendi, mate? You didn't get your plan A. And I think if Liverpool went for Ugarte, that would just be petty. I don't think it's the right deal for them to do, to be honest. I'm worried Liverpool will bid higher than us for Ugarte, says Gido. Mate, you can't stress about things that you can't control. There's no indication that Liverpool are going to bid for Ugarte. Liverpool wanted Zubimendi. If they pivot to Ugarte and they buy Ugarte, we'll have to deal with it. We'll have to deal with it. But there's no indication it's going to happen. And I think if you know the way Arne Slot plays football, I don't think that's what he's looking for. Because I think in Alexi McAllister, they've already got somebody that's, you know, their tenacious player. They don't need two of them. They need somebody who can actually conduct the play. Frankie de Jong would be far better for them in that role. So I don't see them doing it. I really don't. And I think that, you know, if we did miss out on Ugarte to a rival, it would be a major blow. But I'm not stressed about that at all. And what you've got to remember is, it's not like Man United would get blindsided. They'd be fully aware. Ugarte wants to come to us. He's done personal terms. We've worked with Jorge Mendes. We've got a good relationship with Jorge Mendes. So even if Liverpool or somebody else did come in for Ugarte, before it hit us, Ineos would be fully aware of it and decide against it anyway. So, yeah. Just says Ugarte has a 78% long pass accuracy. That's not bad at all. Mendes in London to discuss a Ugarte deal, says Glenn. Glenn might have just tuned in, to be fair, but I'm still going to say Slow Sports News because we spoke about it half an hour ago. I watch your shows daily here in the States and how natives ask me, where are you from? Cheers, England, Fimby. And do you apologise to Rashford if he scores 30 goals, says Dejan. Why would I apologise to Rashford for him scoring 30 goals? Why would anyone apologise to Rashford? I'm really sorry, Marcus, that you're paid 350 grand a week. You've done nothing for a year. You've earned millions and millions of pounds. You went out for a night out in Belfast. You weren't tracking back last season. I'm really sorry that you've worked hard over the summer and you're now showing the talent we pay you for. Really sorry. It was clearly my fault. Come on, mate, grow up. Nobody needs to apologise to Rashford. Rashford doesn't need to apologise to us. Some people think he does. He needs to go and perform for himself and the badge and the club that pays him. And if he scores goals in a Man United shirt for the club that we support, then we celebrate those goals and we praise the player. There's no apology. There's no proving people wrong, because that's where we go wrong. This is not about Marcus Rashford FC. This is not Player FC. This is Manchester United. So when you score a goal, you don't need to go like that or that. You go like that, because that's what we all support. And we need to rid ourselves of this Player FC. Apologise. He sat you down. Shush. Nonsense. Nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's brandification bullshit that this football club needs to shed. Score goals, get praised. Be part of the team. It's not about the name, it's about the game. End of the story. That doesn't get clipped and shared out inspirationally with a bit of TikTok music, I don't know what will. Anyway, look, I'm back at 8 o'clock, but I think I might be back before, because surely before 8 o'clock we get the Ligt and Mazraoui official, and I just want to read some Ligt comments. George is in London. It's breaking news. Thank you very much, Dewald. Legends in the chat. Make sure you subscribe. I'll speak to you later. Thanks for watching.